Welcome to this episode of Safe Home for struggling teens and their families finding their healing path. I am Joy, a teen recovering from substance use, suicidal ideation, depression, and anxiety.
And I'm Joey's mom, Beth, and I am walking beside him as he works hard for his recovery while I work hard on my own personal growth and healing.
We are not experts in anything except our own stories, and we encourage you to seek out professional help if you are struggling. We have a list of resources in the description.
Please note that this episode contains some swear words, descriptions of drug use, and mentions of suicide attempts, and may not be appropriate for sensitive listeners or younger children. In this episode, Joey and I are going to be chatting about depression.
Yes.
Something something both of us know much too much about.
Yes.
Sadly. Well, let's just start by saying, I think we both should just say what we think depression is for us. And by the way, just to reiterate, we are not any sort of medical professional, healthcare professional, mental health professional. We are just professional depressed people.
Yeah, we just know how it feels.
Inside. So this is just our own take on it.
Yeah.
So what is depression to you, Joey?
Well, like the way I think about it is just reminiscing or like thinking too much about the past. That's what I think. And anxiety is like thinking about the future too much. But it feels like just, I don't know, like this black darkness that is in your body. And then you don't want to do anything. Your motivation's killed. You don't, I don't know how to, it's a feeling more than like a way to explain it through words.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know, but it's definitely dark.
Dark seems to be the key component. Yeah, I can relate to that darkness. For me, depression is when it's closely linked to overwhelm, which is what I get a lot. And depression to me is when I get angry at myself. I turn anger toward myself.
Yeah, no, I guess I could relate to that. I just never really thought about it that way.
Yeah.
It's definitely like a way of putting things on yourself that really don't have to.
Right, exactly. Maybe I should be mad at somebody else or something else, but instead I'm just overwhelmed. So I just turn the microscope onto me and go, God, you are so terrible at X, Y, and Z. And how can you even da 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 da? Yeah. So a lot of my depression ends up being real negative self-talk.
Yeah, no, I think that's a lot of depression for a lot of people. But it could just be, it's just that chatter in your head that's negative. The negative chatter in your head that's essentially the devil on your shoulder instead of the angel. And then the angel is the one, your good, the higher state of mind that's really trying to do good for you, whereas the devil is bringing you down. So that's depression in my eyes. That's how a visual representation. So, yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's just depression as a character. Its main job is to pull you down.
Yeah.
Deeper and deeper and deeper. And I think it's trying to help you because you're saying, hell, I'm overwhelmed. I'm feeling stuck. And so it says, all right, let's shut her down.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it in reptilian brain, like if you're going to the scientific part of it, depression isn't really a bad thing. It really is a coping mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. Really, it keeps you away from danger.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's the exact thing that keeps you away from danger in your reptilian brain, but it's definitely keeping you away from things that aren't comfortable.
Right.
Yeah.
Which some things that aren't comfortable, you really should be dealing with facing forward instead of burying your head about it. But but it means well.
Yeah, it does.
The depression
means well.
It's trying to help, but it's not fully informed because it's not your whole self. It's just a little piece of you.
Yeah.
And oh boy, we unfortunately know too much about our character of depression.
Yes.
How has it affected your life? And when did you first realize you had it, and what did it do to you?
Well, my first experience with depression was probably middle school when I realized, well, probably elementary school, but I didn't realize it at then. But middle school was when it like hit me because I grew up in a white area in Huntington Beach, really. And I was an Asian there. and I got bullied for that because I was different. And that's when I became the other. And that's something that would um trigger depression, I assume, is because when you're not fitting in, you seem to isolate. You have to isolate because no one really accepts you.
Kind of survival, right?
It's survival. And it's when you isolate, when you get in your own head, and then you have that self chatter that's negative, sometimes good, but usually negative when it's like when you're isolating and things aren't going well for you, especially when you're being bullied and negative things are happening around you. So the self chatter would become negative, and that's what depression was for me.
And then do you think the depression in middle school contributed to your choice to use drugs at that certain juncture when you got into high school?
Yes, definitely. It's because I needed an escape from the depression. So once I first tried something that like weed that took that pain away, it just started that snowball effect of the next thing that would take me out of this pain. So the next thing was LSD, then the next thing was DMT, and then it just snowballed. Then I got into harder drugs. It Especially with me, I like disassociatives and psychedelics because they take me to a whole new reality where I don't have to face the pain that I was going through in that reality, in this reality, essentially. So yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense why you would choose those drugs. Unfortunately, though, some of the drugs you took made you more depressed.
Well, yeah,
the weed kind of makes you low, right?
Well, the weed is a downer, but it is a psychedelic too. But if you're using it with not good intention or with no intention, it will usually bring you down more. Because if you use marijuana or weed and you have an intention to like learn from it, and like, because I think when you are on marijuana, your self chatter is enhanced.
Oh, so if you went in with a good intention and healthy mindset and were a grown up,
Yeah.
you could say, okay, I'm going to smoke this weed and just see if my mind can conjure up whatever I'm looking for.
Exactly.
But no one does that
No
when
one
they're
really does
16
that.
or 15
No,
or
they're there to get the high.
yeah, they're just trying to get wasted.
Yeah.
Or to get obliterated so you don't have to think about anything.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, interesting. And then alcohol is definitely a downer.
Oh, alcohol is a depressant.
Yeah. So if you're depressed, drinking alcohol is like
literally adding to the depression.
Just adding logs to the fire.
Yeah, exactly. Because alcohol, it literally completely numbs out and everything when you get to a certain point. You black out, essentially. And when that happens, it's not helping anything in the long run. It just comes back because you get sober after that, unless you pass away through that, and then you're really just gone. But it will come back like twice as worse.
Yeah, and then it's just a spiral. It's the substances and the depression just both are spiraling down. It's so hard to pull out of one of those spirals. What have you done in the past because it's like a little roller coaster, right? It's not always like super horrible, depressed. Most people are kind of up and down.
Yeah.
What has helped you pull up when you've needed to?
What I've learned now in this better state of mind is that talking, communicating, feeling the emotions, not suppressing them or putting them away, or I guess you do the opposite. You really feel them. You take time to understand what you're feeling. So then it gets to the deeper root. And then once you go to the deepest point of that depression and address it, you can therefore understand it more and realize, okay, this is why I'm feeling that way, instead of why am I feeling this way? I don't want this to happen anymore. And then you go to a drug or a substance or whatever, and then you make it worse by covering it up with something else. So the best way to get out of a spiral essentially is to address it, talk to people about it, and then integrate it into your mind and into your life, what you've learned and what you've learned from talking about it.
I agree with you. The only way out is through.
Exactly.
You got to just face your demons or face your dragons or whatever, and just cry or whatever, moan and groan or lament, whatever you need to do about the pain. And somehow you've got to get it out of your system so you can move on.
Yeah. If it's what depression, I believe it can be a physical manifestation too. So if you feel like you need to punch something, do that, but in a healthy way. So like punch a pillow. Like if you really feel angry when depressed, you need to release. You don't want to hold. So do so, release, but in a healthy manner.
Yeah. We bought Joey a gigantic teddy bear from
like
Costco. Yeah, it's like 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
And we bought it for the express purpose of him to be able to punch it or to hug on it. But yeah, I think you don't like punching it because it makes you too sad to punch the bear.
Yeah, no. It's more of a hugging bear now.
So the hugging part is good. But I've used it to punch, and it is extremely satisfying to me to punch the bear. I'm so sorry, bear.
No, I understand. Some people do need to release, and I need to do that more, but it seems that it's hard for me because I just don't like inflicting pain on anything, even if it's not living. It's just, I know that there's like energy in the air. So.
Yeah. So just hitting a pillow maybe, or you've used your baseball bat on your bed or something.
Yeah, baseball bat on the bed works, but it's still like, I don't want to ruin anything. So like.
Yeah, you got to be careful, but there are definitely ways you can disperse that energy without hurting anybody, including yourself.
Yeah, so just like really just like twitching and like having like little treats is good, because I do that sometimes when I just do that just to release.
Just twitch like a big twitch. Do you do it voluntarily? Or?
Yeah, I do it voluntarily because I know that there's a feeling that I have to twitch. So I twitch.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's probably some energy wanting to get out, don't you think?
Yeah, no. So it's a really easy way to just like get it out.
I find that my drumming class really helps to purge me of some of that stuck energy.
Yeah. No,
I can feel it sometimes. Well, you know how loud drums, you can feel the vibrations?
Yes.
But I can just feel it shaking everything up like...
Yeah. It's mixing it up and then getting it out once you release by pounding that head of the drum. So that makes complete sense. That makes complete sense. But I want to know, I'm going to ask you, what like is depression to you? Like what is it in your life?
What does it look like?
Yeah.
Well, I think I've been depressed as long as I can remember. I've just been kind of just an overwhelmed and kind of hopeless person for a long time. There's just a lot of sadness, and I don't know where it came from exactly, but it's just maybe my personality or just stuff that happened when I was little. But it makes me really serious all the time, and my workaholism kind of pulls me out of it. It forces me to kind of just keep working, work. But if I have moments where I'm not working, then I just go dark.
You get into your head.
Yeah, I get into my head.
Busy. You have to have like something to do to keep you out of that.
Yeah. So when I'm not in my workaholic mode, I do a lot of sleeping. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything. Yeah. I just kind of shut down, like the blue character in that movie, Sadness. Inside Out, the greatest movie ever, Disney's Inside Out. And each character is like a part of you. So there's emotion, a sadness,
joy,
and there's anger
and happiness,
disgust,
or something. Joy was
and disgust and fear.
Oh, fear. Oh, okay.
But I totally identify with the blue one.
Yeah,
the sadness one. And in fact, Jan, who's Joy, she doesn't really get sad. She gets more angry, if anything. But she often says, "Do I need to pull you by your foot?"
Yeah,
which is what happens in the movie.
In the scene where like the blue sadness just lays there and just just puts her leg up and says, "Drag me by my foot."
Makes Joy drag her around if she has to go somewhere. So I can totally. It's really tough. It's been some sort of a lifelong project.
Mhm.
I've been in therapy for decades, and I've been on antidepressants for decades.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to get off right now.
That's cool.
I've tapered down, and I'm just keep trying to taper down as much as I can
and feel the emotions. Rather.
Yeah.
You should talk to Miguel. I don't know if you like want to, but Miguel really helps with you accepting the negative emotions and manifesting them into reality and dispersing them. It's really helpful.
Well, he sure has helped you tremendously. And we recommend Miguel to anyone who's looking for some really deep spiritual kind of emotional work.
Yes.
Tough stuff.
It's really tough.
But it's helped you. Oh my gosh.
It helps so much. It helps so much. Because if I wouldn't have had this opportunity to work on myself spiritually and emotionally, I don't think I would be at the point where I am, because I wouldn't know anything about myself. I would still be kind of blind and keep going on this road of darkness and self-destruction. Yes.
Yeah. I think the awareness is key, and the willingness to look it square in the face.
Yes.
And that is key. That's why you're sober right now. That's why you're on the baseball team and in jazz band and doing life so beautifully. And thank God for Miguel. I love Miguel, but I think I'm going to leave him to you.
Really?
I think it'd be weird to see him and you see him. But I have an appointment in 2 days with someone that's going to do EMDR with me.
Oh, that's good. So, and you can explain EMDR.
Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. And it's a specific type of psychotherapy that kind of gets into your subconscious a little bit deeper than regular talk therapy. So I'm hoping that will get me to some of my core issues, like the stuff that you're working on.
Yeah, no, I believe in EMDR. I've never tried it, but I've heard about it, and it sounds very intriguing. It sounds like it would work, and I heard a lot of people that say it does work. So
yeah, it's really. In the trauma fields, it's mentioned all the time that EMDR helps people with trauma.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try that. And I continue to work on my own personal growth to make sure that I don't get too depressed. Because when I get depressed, I've never tried to commit suicide, but I get passively suicidal if I let myself get too depressed. And that looks like hoping a truck will kill me. Run me off the road. Yeah. Wishing I wouldn't wake up. Yeah. Or, stuff like that. That's not a good place to be in.
No, that's a scary place, because once you're in there, it can easily switch to non-passive. It could like active. Yeah. And you can, I've been in active situations.
Yes.
And then that's, in the moment, it's not scary because you just want to die.
Yeah. It's too late for the scariness to be there by that time.
But the thing that saved me from all my attempts is pain, because you can't really die without pain. So
the physical pain,
I don't like physical pain, because a warning to any listeners, might be a little graphic, but when I tried to hang myself multiple times, I got to the point where it just hurt and I couldn't breathe. So I never tried to jump off something and hang myself. I just tried to suffocate myself. So when it got to the point where I couldn't breathe and my eyes were starting to roll back, I just release. And I would pass out for a second, but I wouldn't be stuck in the noose. So that was scary. That was the scary point, is when you feel the pain of dying. And that's a very scary point, is when you get to the point of almost death through pain.
That was really, really, really scary for us, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was scary for you after you realized what happened.
Yeah.
But when you had those suicide attempts, you were using a lot of psychedelics, which kind of ushered in. We talked about that in the psychedelics episode.
Well, yeah, we could talk about it again. Psychedelics in my eyes, they show you realities that are different and show you things that could be on the other side, quote unquote. So it, to me, what it's like through my experiences, it showed me that death was just a recycled thing, that you can die, come back, relive, die, come back, relive until you learn.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I don't know if that's true. No one really knows. No one will know.
Mm-hmm.
But that gave me this thing in my mind that I was not afraid of death.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very scary from everyone around me, because I would just say, I want to die. I want to
Mm-hmm.
experience what
Mm-hmm.
death is. I've seen it before. I know what it feels like, but I've never really done it sober. So I want to see if it's truly what it is,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
So you mean you've seen death while under the influence of psychedelics?
Yes.
So in your other realm, you've experienced death.
Yeah.
And you wanted to do it in your current physical form.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was a terrifying time period. That is for sure. And if you hadn't had depression, probably none of this would have happened. But the depression underlying everything is contributing
Amplified
to that.
it.
Yeah, amplified it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it definitely. Well, I think even if someone wasn't depressed and saw like death through psychedelics, they would have the same mindset, because it's curiosity. Curiosity kills the cat. So literally, it would kill someone.
But if your physical realm life was super happy and you didn't have that layer of sadness and darkness,
it wouldn't really affect it, I don't think.
Oh, really? It wouldn't. Your psychedelic experience would be so strong.
No. I'm saying it wouldn't affect your reality, so you wouldn't try and commit suicide.
Oh, got it. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that situation for someone, and then it could be completely a different situation for someone else. So we can't, like we said, we're not professionals.
Yeah.
That's just what we think and through our own personal experiences. So yeah.
But that's what makes psychedelics dangerous, not the actual substance. It doesn't really kill anyone, the actual substance, but it might make you do stuff that you wouldn't do when you're sober. So
yeah, but it also can induce psychosis.
Yeah.
Which it doesn't kill you, but it can make you kill yourself, can make you kill someone else, because you don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
Your reality is no longer what it used to be.
Yeah. So if you have any sort of underlying mental health issues, adding drugs to that is
not a good idea.
Bad combo.
Yes.
So since you've been sober, have you been depressed? And if so, how have you handled it? And is it?
Oh yeah, I've been depressed, definitely. But it's easier to handle when you're sober, because you're in your true headspace, and it's so hard to explain when you're under the influence and depressed, but it's different. It's definitely different, because you're not connected fully to your mind and body when you're under the influence. So you can't really address what truly is happening. It could be altered. Whereas when you're sober-minded, you know exactly, you can tell where it's coming from, you can address it. So that's how I can explain it.
Okay. Well, very good. What would you be willing to give us an example of something you've handled recently?
Yeah, I mean, how I usually deal with depression is I dream, and my dreams usually, I never have nightmares, so I always have good dreams or really outrageous dreams. So when I'm depressed, I usually want to go to those realities, so I don't have to deal with my physical reality. So that's my escape.
So sleeping is a lot better than doing drugs.
Yeah, it's way better, but it does create isolation. Yeah,
it isolates you, and like if you had a job or something to go to, you'd miss out on stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not a sustainable thing. But if you had to choose between using drugs or taking a lot of naps, just take naps.
Take naps,
whatever.
Yes. Yeah, please take naps rather than doing drugs or harmful coping mechanisms. But
sometimes it's really hard to rouse you out of those kind of sleepy, lethargic.
Yeah, because
moments.
I don't want to be in this reality at that point. I just really want to just stay, because it was actually today that I just wanted to stay in that reality. I was having such a good time in that reality that it seemed better than what I was going through. Even though I'm having a great time in this experience, it's just that sometimes the other experience is the grass is greener on the other side sometimes.
the experience you're having in your dreams is even cooler than your current
Yeah.
physical existence.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why they call them dreams, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
So how did you get out of your nap mode today?
I just had to not go back to sleep. I just had to realize, okay, I'm up, I'm doing this, I'm doing my reality. It's hard. It's definitely hard, but I had to, because I have to be there for my family. I have to be there for school. I have responsibilities.
Mhm.
I mean, I could sleep forever. I don't have to wake up. Like I could just blow everyone off, but
Yeah.
that's not in my morals, and it's not in my energy that I want to do that anymore. So
Yeah, when you had actual things to do with times to be somewhere, you totally made it today.
Yeah.
But it's that loose time, and this is definitely a problem for me too. If I have time where I don't have something scheduled and some responsibility to be somewhere, that's where I fall apart.
yeah,
I do much better if I have, okay, I got to be here. This person needs me over here.
hmm
So my life ends up looking like a big puzzle of obligations.
yeah.
But
I totally understand that though.
But if I let myself have too much free time, I just get depressed, and I just get. Ugh.
Yeah,
But that is something I need to work on, because I think I am avoiding dealing with stuff by just keeping so busy.
yeah. Well, it's balance.
Mhm.
Everything's a balance. You can avoid
Mm-hmm.
to a certain extent, but then you can feel to a certain extent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, everything has balance.
Very
And
good. Do we say everything there is to say about depression?
yeah, I mean, it feels like it sucks, but you have to get through it.
Mhm.
You don't have to. Like, I'm not telling you have to get through it, but in my experience, it, it, it turns that depression on its head to be something you can work with.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, if you can think of it like that blue character, it's just like another character in your play, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And if you can let it have a voice, it can say what it needs to say, and then it kind of dissipates the energy.
Yeah, it really, I don't know like an example, but it's sort of like cotton candy to water. Once you like put the cotton candy in the water, it just dissipates.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, because it's your cotton candy to your water. So your the depression is the cotton candy, and then your brain is the water. So once the depression hits the water, oh no, I don't know, but I just felt that analogy. I don't know.
I like that analogy. It when your depression sees the light of day,
It just dissipates. Yeah, exactly. That's probably the better way. Yeah.
I wanted to mention that the one thing that helps me the most with my depression is exercise.
Oh yeah. Okay. So that is actually a good point. Depression, it's an energy, and I think when you move energy in the opposite direction with like physical movement and using endorphins, which are released when moving, it again is the water to the cotton candy. It dissipates the depression.
I actually have to move 15 minutes a day,
or else you get depressed.
Or else I get depressed.
Really?
And it doesn't take me long. Like if I miss 1 or 2 days,
Really?
I fall down.
You seem really in tune with your depression. It seems like I'm still kind of getting to where you're at.
Well, I have decades more experience.
True. That's true.
But yeah, it's really interesting, and I hate exercising. I'm not an athlete at all. I grew up playing the piano and reading books. That was all I did, but my fingers got exercise, and that's it.
Yeah.
But luckily we have horses. And so my exercise most days is cleaning the corrals or moving hay or doing chores outside. Or sometimes we actually go do things. But getting my heart rate up for 10 or 15 minutes a day is just imperative for my mental health.
I think it is for me, but I just haven't realized it yet. It really does impact how you feel.
Yeah. And luckily you're an athlete, so you're getting a lot of activity lately.
Yeah.
So, well, if someone is struggling with depression right now, what would you suggest they do right away? Like what are the top?
There's definitely
couple
different
things to do?
levels of depression. So like if someone is actively suicidal, call someone, call an authority, call a suicide hotline, get them help.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's passively suicidal and depressed, I would say talk to them, ask them, really talk to them and tell them to feel their emotions, not bury it. I know that's a cliche thing,
Mm-hmm.
but like it really is
Yeah.
important.
And at that point, a therapist would probably be really
Oh, a therapist would
necessary.
need to be there.
Yeah, some sort of therapist.
But if you're just depressed and wanting to sleep all day, drag the person by their foot. Like it sounds messed up, but you need to get them out of that state, because if they keep in that state, they can get they're spiraling at that point. So you just need to help. If they don't want to, you can't force them, but just be there as a support to help them out of it when they're ready.
Yeah. Sometimes Jen will say, "Come on, Beth, we're going."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to. But she convinces me with her joyful, hopeful voice, and I'm like, all right. And then I always feel better.
Yeah. No. After you get out, you feel better.
Yeah.
It's always that afterwards you realize, oh, okay, yeah, I was wrong. Yeah.
Well, I hope this conversation has helped people, especially people who have never experienced depression. Or if they have, maybe you've heard something that's similar, or, everyone's probably looks a little different, but I hope that you can relate to something that we said, and hope it's a little bit helpful.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Go ahead and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts if you have a chance.
Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And
subscribe on YouTube or on your own podcast app. And lastly, we have a Patreon page. If any of you would like to support our podcast financially so we can continue creating commercial-free episodes and help defray the costs of the podcast, go to patreon.com/safehome. Thank you so much.
And stay safe.